What's up? I'm Akio, DJ Akio, also creative director of Kool Out. Well, Kool Out started off as just a party in Cape Town back in, this is actually our 10th year. So we started May 16, 2008. It was one of those situations back in those days, like hip hop in Cape Town it was kind of like ups and downs, peaks and valleys. And during that time, it was a valley in Cape Town, so there wasn't really much of a hip hop scene going on. So I was like, all right, cool. Why don't we start a night, a place where MCs can come and rap. We'll have an open mic. We'll also play some like hip hop that we consider real hip hop, and we'll make it free to everybody. So I went around to a bunch of venues just to check stuff out. And there's a space called the Waiting Room. And back in those days, man, it wasn't a hip hop spot. It was really just like, what was going on back then, man? It was like a little bit of electro and house and stuff like that. It was really just a spot for white people, So when I went in there, I was like, you know what, man, this is what we want to do. And they're like, okay, cool, we don't do hip hop. Hip hop's not allowed here. So I was like, okay, I don't want to do hip hop. They're like, okay, cool, give us a mix of what it is you want to do. So I kind of tricked them. I did a instrumental mix, like hip hop, but like instrumental stuff, like Jay Dilla stuff. And they're like, yo, this is kind of cool. So they said, we'll give you the first Wednesday of every month. So we started off on the first Wednesday. Started off with like a lot of the instrumental stuff, made it an open mic, and then we started sliding the hip hop in gradually, and eventually it started popping off, and that's kind of how Kool Out Lounge started. It started how kind of from the way that we always look at things is more not what's hot, it's what's missing, and that's how we started Kool Out Lounge. We're like, yo, what's missing from Long Street? Like this type of event is missing from Long Street. Because back in those days, like to hear hip hop, like you always had to go to the grimiest place that was always like cold in the winter, hot in the summer, terrible sound, like no furniture. Like there wasn't a place like for real hip hop heads that could go to, and the Waiting Room was a bit more upscale, and we turned it into a hip hop spot. And as they were extremely against it at the time, tried to kick us out, we held our ground like Money Talks. Like we were doing bigger numbers than they were on Fridays and Saturdays, so they let us keep it. But they didn't want hip hop any other nights. And then now, fast forward 10 years later, like Uppercut is at Waiting Room, and it's like basically hip hop all the time. Like all their biggest things are structured around hip hop. So it's like we basically changed the whole demographic and music direction of that venue from when we started to what it is now. So it's pretty cool. Brands want you to show you, it's a catch-22. They want you to show you what you can do. And at the same time, you're like, how am I going to show you what I can do without no money? You know what I'm saying? And we lost like a gang of money. We lost so much money in the Cape Town days. Like all the internationals we did Akio from Jurassic 5, Blue in Exile, Razkaz, DJ Babu, People Under the Stairs. Like we had so many international events and we lost money on everything, But the product that we pushed was solid. It looked good to everybody. The artists that we brought down were happy about it. What we delivered to the sponsors who were putting in almost nothing at the time, they were happy with, and we managed to build the brand even though we were taking a loss. Like, I don't want the relationship just to be defined by business. So it's like one of the things I always tell people is like, do you have a friend who every time they call you, you know that they're asking for something? Every time they call you, they need to borrow money. They need a favor, they need to borrow your car, they want tickets for something, and as soon as the phone rings and their name pops up, you're like, what do they want this time? You know what I'm saying? And that's how it is in business as well. Like, you don't want the people that you're working with, every time you call, it's like, okay, Akio needs, he wants me to sponsor something. Like, that's not the relationship you want. You want it when they call, they're like, oh shit, what's up? It's Akio's calling, what's up? You know what I'm saying? So, we try and like, I invite people to my house for dinners whenever we have like tickets or something, hit them up just to give it to them. Like you want that relationship to be something where you're giving something as well. It's not just you're asking for something every time. Don't be that guy that's always asking for something every time you call somebody. The music industry is unforgiving. Like they don't care like how hot you were 3 years ago. They don't care how hot you were 6 months ago. The pace is very difficult. The way that we construct our business model is like we try and reach out to 18 to 25-year-old kids. And obviously every 2 or 3 years, those 18 to 25 kids move into the next age demographic. So it's like every year we think about how do we reset? How do we hit the reset button? And it becomes more and more difficult, obviously, the older we get, the way the trends change. Like I still feel like I'm in tune with what's going on, because I also made a conscious decision to not hate on what's new. And you see that with a lot of people as they get older, and it's like, whatever's out now, they're like, oh man, this is some bullshit, man. What? This ain't hip hop. The shit I used to listen to, that's hip hop. I'm not gonna respect this, you know. And my thing is like, you know what? I'm gonna try and respect everything. If I don't like it, I don't like it, but I'm gonna listen to everything with an open mind. So, you know, I try and stay hip to the trends. But at some point, you know, will I be like, okay, let me actually take a break from this music thing. Maybe I've got other interests in life, and it was never my objective to become a DJ and get into music. I'm doing it because I love it, you know. And it's like now I'm doing things that I never dreamed of, but at the same time, you know, I've got other interests in my life. So going back to school could be one of them, you know. I still think that maybe I would enjoy going back to school and teaching. But even now, like I do like a lot of workshops and panel discussion stuff, and I really enjoy that aspect, because it's like I learned so much. I learned so much from my mistakes coming up in this business. I didn't have anybody to teach me how to be an events planner, how to be a promoter, how to basically be a consultant for experiential marketing. I didn't have anybody teach me how to be an artist manager. These are all things I learned, like trial and error, and learning from these mistakes. And you know, it would have helped if there was somebody who kind of would have given me some advice or some guidance. And so I do try and do that when possible. So I definitely dig the engagement of working and imparting knowledge to like younger people on the come up. Like I do enjoy that aspect. I'm so far away from my actual family. So I've built like what I consider like a family here, you know? So I've got like this deep loyalty like to the people around me, and being involved in their lives, and like I try and be their first point of contact if anything's going on in their lives, if they need help with anything. It is important, man. I'm big on like the team loyalty and creating that. Like if you talk to the people within Kool Out, you know, that's what I try and build. You know, we try and do the team building stuff. We try and always have stuff time together. You know, it's like we almost spend too much time together sometimes, but it's like that's the way I want it to be. The music side, which I want to continue. Like I really want to put a lot more into the DJing. There's like a lot of stuff that I feel like sidetracked me. Like there's the business side, and then there's also I was DJing for a rapper, and I feel like that's one of the things. If you're a solo artist as a DJ, one of the worst things you can do is to DJ for a rapper, just because you're sidelining your own brand. Like if you look at all the guys who are big now, none of them, they all stayed as solo artists. You know what I'm saying? Speedster, Milkshake, Dimples, PH, all these guys chose to stay in their lane, while the guys like, say, Fanatic, who, you know, had a blossoming DJ career at one point, but he was DJing for AKA, just kind of disappeared off the map. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at how a lot of these DJs jumped on board with rappers, and it's like their own career kind of got sidelined. So I think I'm focusing a lot on my own DJing, and then on the other side, it's the creative side. Like I feel I've always got ideas, you know, and that's where I want to be. Is I want to be selling concepts and ideas. Like to me, it's like, why not invest in yourself? Like that's a product that sticks with you forever. You know, 5 years, Akio is still Akio. You know, I might do something else, but everything that I've done to invest in myself over those previous 5 years, like I take with me.